This is the Wednesday, April 21st meeting of the Berlin Personnel Committee. As a preliminary matter, please note that the meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. This is Claire Pond, Chair of the Personnel Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Sue Terrian,
I'm here.
Tom Bradley,
He's still muted.
I figure out how to get off mute.
I'll ask him to unmute.
How's that?
That's
There
good.
he is.
Perfect. Perfect, Tom. So staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Margaret Nadowitz.
Margaret's here.
Okay. And I think that you said June's probably going to be joining, right?
I think she's planning on it.
Okay. With the quorum of the board present, I call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Okay. The agenda, I'm going to bring that up. The minutes, I sent out the minutes prior to, actually it was last Thursday, I think. I was early. I should have had them out anyway. For March 24th and April 7th. Did you have a chance to read them?
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept them as written.
Oh, good.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the 3:24 and 4:07 minutes, say aye. Aye.
Sue, I.
Tom, I.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, the next order of business was PAFs, and we had a couple PAFs. We had one for Molly Plant.
Yep.
A new hire police officer, 40 hours a week. And the second one was for Roger Bradley, an assignment or to the Board of Assessors until he gets elected in May. He'll get elected in May, I believe.
May 24th. is the
Yeah.
election.
So, and I think that was it for the PAFs. Any other?
That's it for today, yes.
Okay, good. All right. Did you have a chance to review them, Tom and Sue?
Yes.
I did.
Okay,
And I make a motion that we sign them.
okay, great. Any other? I'll second that motion. And any discussion?
No.
Nothing? Hearing nothing. All those in favor of approving the PAFs for Molly Plant and and Roger Bradley, please say aye.
Sue, I.
On.
Tom, I.
Okay. Great. All right. Now, the next item was for position vacancies and status. So one of the things that was brought to our attention was the Council on Aging van driver. And let's see. I did look at that job. I looked at the job descriptions that, and I looked at the ad that she had put together for the Council on Aging van driver. Did you guys have a chance to look at those?
I did.
Okay. Any thought? The only the only recommendation I had for the one, for the van driver, Council on Aging van driver job description from the new set, the drafts that Sandy had done for us. I'm not sure whether we want to call it bus driver. Do we want to call it bus driver? Because I'm thinking, I'm reading it and it's talking about transporting elderly passengers. It's talking about reporting to the Council on Aging director. And so I think we should rename it instead of having bus driver. I'm thinking we should rename it to Council on Aging van driver.
Yes, I agree with you.
Otherwise, I thought it looked pretty good. Sue, what did you think?
I thought it looked good.
Okay, good. And you're okay with making that amendment to the,
Yes, I think it should be van.
okay, all right, okay. So given that information, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the posting of the job in the advertisement for the job, as well as approve the draft job description that we received, the one in the new Berlin format that states position, purpose, essential functions of the job, recommended minimum qualifications, with the amended title of Council on Aging van driver.
And I will second that.
Any discussion? Margaret, did you have anything you wanted to add to that at all?
I didn't. I thought it looked good too, and I completely agree with the title
Okay.
change.
No, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the job description and the posting and advertising for the position, please say aye.
Sue, I.
Claire,
Tom,
aye.
aye.
Okay,
Tom, aye.
great.
So next step will be to bring this to the board on Monday for their approval, and it will be done.
Beautiful. Oh, that's great. Okay, let's see. Town administrator information.
The only thing I have is I received an update from Sandy today. She says she's working on them. I've made it clear that we are going to be done with this project. I need to close out this grant in order for us to move on to additional community compact grants. So that's,
Okay.
I gave her a date of the 23rd.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Okay. What did she, Margaret, does she think she'll be able to get that done for us?
She emailed me today. I got the sense that she says she's almost done.
Okay, great.
I don't know what almost done means, but I'll ask for clarification on that. Mhm.
Okay, great.
Will we get her final copy before our next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I gave her a date of 23rd, which is 2 days from now. So my expectation is absolutely yes.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Any other items, Margaret, that you wanted to bring to our attention?
No, actually not. So I just wanted to clarify, you're okay with the advertisement that's actually still online. So we'll just update that.
Beautiful.
I'll let Victoria know about the job description format and we should be good to go.
Great. Let's see. Any other information that anybody would like to share? Hi, June. On the budget update or any proposed adjustments. We already talked about the HR study information, so we're all set with that for the moment. Until we have a chance, I've got to review those because we need to talk about the increases but it's not until the next fiscal year anyway, correct?
Yes, and the personnel committee is also going to have to continue discussing the class and comp plan, what you want to do with that, whether
Right.
you want to include employees that aren't currently on there, like my position, police chief, fire
Yep.
chief, to make it kind of all inclusive.
Okay, all right.
Is it just the three of you, Margaret? Town administrator, police chief, fire chief?
That have employment contracts, yes, but the thing, I don't know.
I didn't think all the police officers were on there.
They're not on there. Nope. They're with their collective bargaining. So, and I don't have the sheet with me. So, including others that aren't currently there.
Okay,
Okay,
I don't think the building inspector is on there either, is he?
Okay. No.
I don't
so,
think, I don't know.
So I
Yes,
think we need to look generally at salaried employees too.
okay.
okay.
building inspector's on there.
Oh, he's okay.
Oh, is he? Okay.
The actual building inspector, or is it the,
Older one?
Is
Other
it the
guy.
commissioner,
yeah,
or is it
commissioner?
Oh, we'll check again. I'll check again.
the?
No, he could be, but I just, there's two people that are there that,
Okay.
Yeah, the local building inspector is on there, but I don't see the building
commissioner.
commissioner or building inspector. It's the local one, the one that's that assists the commissioner.
And highway superintendent, I don't think he's on there either, right?
Okay,
That's,
Glad you joined us, June.
Sorry, I know.
that's good.
Hi, Tom. It's good to
No,
hear you.
that's good, though. That's good. Okay. And trying to look and see the other, any salaried, the chiefs, the town administrator. So really, we'd want to have a class for that as well. And
that would help with future hires, I think.
Yeah.
Because it would set parameters.
right,
And it would be nice to have updated amounts, so that way there, when you get somebody new, at least you know what you're looking at as far as
right,
span
right.
goes.
yep, yep. So we'll have to take a look at the is it the MIIA comp studies and see if any of them are in there.
They changed it to MMRRA
HR.
or, yeah.
And then
Okay.
HR.
There you
All
go.
right, I'll see what I can, we'll have to see what we can find. Okay, good. Yeah, no, that's great. So that's the class and comp plan. And the other piece is the next meeting, we'll spend some time going over some of the draft policies. Maybe we can start and just try and work through them as best as we can. You know, do a few each night and every other week when we meet. And what are your thoughts? Sue, can you think of anything on how we?
My thought is it would be really nice when we can get back to in person and actually sit down and go through a document. I think it's really hard to do a document like that on Zoom.
Right, so even if we could, I don't know, what are they saying, Margaret, in terms of like even the town? What are they saying?
Yeah. So I've noted to the board over the past few meetings that I'm looking at updating the COVID protocols for in-person business transactions starting at the beginning of May. Board and committee meetings would follow. My one concern with board and committee meetings is that we don't have the staffing capacity to be able to do the disinfecting protocols that are recommended. So after every board and committee meeting, we'd have to have a plan in place in order to get that done. So that would follow. I don't think it's too far off. Berlin's trends have been declining over the past month. So my hope is that people are continuing to get vaccinated and we can.
Yeah,
I've been
Yeah.
wanting in-person meetings now for months, so.
No, and I know we can do it. If we have to, we'll do it on Zoom, but I'm just, when it
right,
comes to a document like that, it's so much easier if we can all sit down and share
Yeah.
the paragraphs and lines and
Right,
Go
right.
over all the stickies.
That's
all those
right.
sticky notes. I mean,
The colorful flags.
Now, hey, Claire and Sue, when we get those documents, is there a certain order that we're gonna do it at?
I hadn't really thought about that.
But is there something, you know what I mean, important that we gotta do in a specific order? I'm not sure.
I don't think so, Tom.
Okay.
Tom, when we
Unless-
get the document, you can make the decisions.
Yeah, unless we had it in front of us once again. Sue.
I
He
know.
ignored that.
It's a lot. I think it's a matter of looking at the policy. Because the way, well, we'll see what we get from her, because in them, I put comments about the draft policy that was given to us, and then what in our old policy should be incorporated into the new policy.
June and I went through the same things, that we
Yeah.
thought there was things in our existing policies that should be.
So let's see what they come up with,
Okay.
and then that way we can try and go through them a few at a time. And if we have the luxury down the road of having an in-person meeting where we can sit 6, 7 feet down a table from one another and do it that way, all the better. But if we can't, then perhaps we can do it this way, and we can bring it up and share information, you know, as we can share my screen or what have you to go over the documents, or we can do it that way, and we can talk through it a little bit. But I just want to make sure that we all have input into it. And I know that June and Margaret worked hard on some of that as well. So, so once we get those, we'll work on those. I really don't have any other business. Does anybody else have any business?
I just have a question. Did we lose a council of aging van driver, or are we
Yeah.
just adding to it?
There was a resignation this week, and so there's one, Ginny remains, and she's willing to pick up, you know, some extra trips in the interim. Victoria will be working on lining up interviews, hopefully really quick, to be able to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You have a hand raised in the audience, Claire.
Okay.
Barry?
Can I
Okay.
stop, Margaret? Before you promote him, can I just ask a question? I'm sure you can clarify.
Mhm.
I'm just clarifying something on open meeting laws.
Mhm.
If we have someone come talk to us representing a board or a commission, and yet there are no meetings or meeting minutes available to us, are they speaking to us as a member of the board or commission, or speaking to us as an individual?
So anybody who comes, well, first of all, if an item isn't on the agenda, the chair has the sole discretion to entertain public comment. Now, public comment should be on behalf of an individual,
Okay.
not as a representative of a board or committee, unless they're duly authorized to attend and speak as a, you know, as a representative of that board or committee. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, no, I'm a little concerned that I've seen no minutes from this commission. And I just want to make sure that we're getting the story either from him or as a representative of the commission.
Okay.
And make sure that we are abiding by all the open meeting laws.
Right. Right.
Right. So again, Claire has the authority to entertain public comment, and Claire also has the authority as the chair to stop public comment if you know, if you feel that it's going beyond
Okay.
what would you consider public comment, and should be an agenda item. So
All right. Well, if you'd like to,
Thank you.
I'll open the meeting for a public comment from Barry.
Okay, Barry, unmute.
Barry, can you hear
Hi.
us?
Last December or whenever it was that I attended one of your meetings, we were told that you were going to consider merging the two job descriptions we had into one position as a possible proposal. But I've never heard anything more about that. Has something been done about that kind of a description or not?
Okay, so I looked through my information that I have here just quickly. And we have not entertained any changing or combining of job descriptions in that sense yet, because a proposal was brought to the Board of Select Board on March 8th. And they approved that the highway department was going to, I'm reading from the proposal that was approved by the select board, that the highway department would assume cemetery groundskeeping and maintenance duties under the operational supervision of the highway superintendent, and further that the cemetery commission retain its statutory authority, including general policy oversight via communications through the highway superintendent. So in that realm, the select board, cemetery commission, and highway superintendent would communicate with one another and would have the opportunity to kind of finalize job descriptions and further define the cemetery superintendent duties after this was voted in. So this was voted on March 8th. We received word of it from Margaret, our town administrator. On March 10th, she announced at our meeting that the select board had approved it. So right now, the cemetery groundskeeping and maintenance would be with the highway department. So it'd be the superintendent's position that we would be looking at. And I don't have an answer for you, Barry, on when we will be looking at the information for that position.
Well, we had hoped to hire a superintendent for July 1st, but I don't know how we can do that if we haven't gotten we gave you all that job description information. I don't know what we're going to do, how we can do it.
Margaret, do you know anything about the status?
Sure. Yeah, I've mentioned to Barry with regard to options for superintendent, and I know that George had that responsibility. So with respect to the superintendent's position, when I recently we went through kind of cleaning up a few legal issues with the cemetery commission, and they're all settled.
Yeah.
One option for superintendent could be that the select board continue the special municipal employee designation and allow Mr. Guild or one of the commissioners to actually perform the superintendent's duties for the stipend that is actually budgeted for that position. That would allow the superintendent's position to remain.
Okay. So who would put forward the information for that with the to get that special approval?
So if the commission, similar to what we just went through, a little bit different, but similar to what we just went through with having a commissioner contract with the commission, it would be, I actually made the recommendation that the board do the special municipal employee designation because it had to happen. But the commission certainly could request that the board do the special municipal employee designation to allow Bob or Barry or another commissioner, Ruth or whoever, to actually perform the superintendent's duties. That would allow, the special municipal employee designation applies to all members of the commission, but that would allow a member of the commission to actually perform the superintendent's duties for the stipend that's provided for in their budget.
The thing
And
that
we have created a draft. It is not in final form, but we do have a draft for the superintendent's position. We still just have to go over it and then present it to the commission to see what they think and get their input, but we do have one.
Okay.
Do we have a job description for the person that's going to be hired by the highway department?
Oh, I'm sorry. As it stands right now, the job description would be similar to what you provided, Barry. So similar to the job description that's actually been attached to the contract for Bob Guild. So cemetery maintenance, cemetery groundskeeper, maintenance laborer type of thing. So it'd be similar to that position.
Well, the position that Mr. Guile currently holds includes handling a lot of the work at the burials. Is that supposed to be included in that one?
That's not groundskeeping though, right?
It's not the
Well,
grounds.
that's why I say we need a definition of what the groundskeeping is, so that we can figure out how we handle the other thing.
So that, wouldn't that be up to Dave Smith, who is now going to be in charge of that operation?
Yes, well, with operational jurisdiction, he would have
Right.
to do that in coordination with the policy oversight of the cemetery commission.
Okay, so Dave Smith would work together with the cemetery commission to make sure that the duties of the groundskeeper are those that meet the commission's needs.
Yes,
Is that correct?
and the commission could either assign the superintendent to work directly with Dave and the groundskeeper, or the cemetery commission themselves could work or communicate with Dave as the operational supervisor.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I've asked Barry and Dave about setting up a meeting to begin discussing communications, because I know I noted that in my March 5th recommendation as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
in order to establish clear communication protocols and operational and policy oversight, it's going to be important to talk beforehand.
Okay. All right. So Barry, does that help to answer the question that you had on the job description?
Well, it leaves it incomplete, but it tells me that something's going to be done about it. The other thing that I'm looking at is the superintendent position that we have had essentially a salary for, though it's listed as part-time wages. But we've been paying that as a flat sum each month. And that's how we were handling it with George. If that person might also be attending to burials and doing some of the other work that was previously under the contract system, we need a way to be able to pay that person additional money. And right now that money is in our expense budget rather than a wage budget. And that amount would vary depending on the work. In other words, in some months it would be different amounts. So we'd have to submit an appropriate document to the accountant each month indicating what the pay was going to be that month and whatever backup is necessary. So we might have a stipend amount, but then we'd have some additional time for some additional money for other work that the person would be doing. So I'm just trying to figure out how all that's going to work. And right now the appropriation that's in the budget is for the old way. And if we're doing it a new way, June, are we gonna be able to use expense money to pay that money? The employee?
We can't use expense money to pay that, but I think with a conversation with Dave, and the duties of the groundskeeper maintenance, I think, and because that would be a part-time, that would be under part-time wages. And June, I know you'd want to weigh in on this as well, but I think with the part-time wage appropriation under highway and the groundskeeper position, I do think that there could be, if duties involving preparing for burials is part of that, it could be paid out of that line.
You won't have money enough in it. You've only put in the money to cover the mowing and maintenance.
Well, not necessarily, Barry, because this is an average amount. The amount that was moved was an average amount that has been paid to Bob for all the duties that you've described in that job description.
No,
So
that's not true. That's the money that was paid for the mowing and pickup and maintenance, not the burials. The burials was the separate.
the $150 and $50,
Yeah.
those stipends.
That was separate money. It was a smaller amount, but that was separate money. That was not included in the $8,000 average amount.
Those
And of course,
costs are itemized.
what happened if it rains a lot and you have more than average?
Those costs are itemized on the invoices, right? The burial
Mhm.
costs.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, June says no. Ooh,
You're
June,
muted.
June, you're muted.
They're individually listed, but not by dollar amount. It just, I think, just says either mowing or burial or cremation, but it's not actually, I don't think, itemized
But-
as far as dollars.
It's very easily translated in terms of the previous bills.
This is getting out of scope.
So that's, we have to sort that out to know exactly what number that is, and
So-
what portion of that amount, that $150 and $50 for the burials represents. But this is actually getting into more of an agenda item
Right.
type of.
Yes.
Right. So would this be a finance committee item or would this be,
This is going to the finance committee.
yeah. So it would be a finance committee item because I can't speak to what the expenses are or how to pay expenses or anything like that. Our committee can't. Any other questions, Barry, on this that don't get into the costs involved with this?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to go talk to June about it separately and see what I can learn about it.
Barry, I recommend, I've invited you and Dave to a meeting. I recommend that you and June and Dave and I all meet to talk about that.
Okay, good. All right.
And is there, when might we see a job description?
I think it would be after you have an opportunity to meet with Dave and with Margaret to determine the transition process.
And as I mentioned, we'd be starting with the draft that was provided for the cemetery maintenance worker.
For
Okay,
the superintendent position?
No, the cemetery maintenance worker. We could also look at the cemetery superintendent too, but this is the cemetery maintenance worker that would be associated with that part-time position under highway.
okay. Yep. Okay. And then we would, on the superintendent piece, after Dave and Barry, and you have the opportunity to be able to talk about a transition and to see where we go, we'll know a little bit more about the superintendent piece, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And in regard to minutes, if you go and look, you'll find that some of the minutes are posted for the 3 meetings we've held over the fall and winter. And that may be helpful to you in understanding what we're doing.
Okay. Go ahead, June. You're on mute. There you go.
I mute again?
You're
Now
good
you're
now.
on.
Okay, when we did the last, oh my God. The person who just did all the job descriptions and the,
Andy.
Sandy.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Did she actually get anything as far as recommendations for cemetery superintendent or anything
wanna
like
say
that?
yes.
Because I'm just,
We'll
I
take a
wanna
look
say
at those
yes.
drafts, yeah. I
okay,
think she did draft something.
because I'm just
We
trying
can
to
look at
figure
that
out, yeah, as far as, money and everything goes to what's available and what we can kind of come up with.
Oh, I see, yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at those and see what she might have, see if she came up with, she didn't come up with anything in the comp piece, I don't think. June.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, if we
Yeah.
had anything new.
Well, we can still take a look and see. As with most of when we were reviewing the cemetery jobs and looking at other towns, they were all under the highway. So
Even the
that,
super part of it, or was that done by the commission, do you know?
I don't know, June, we'll have to take a closer look at that. Sue, do you remember in terms of the super?
I don't remember. I think I saw some things. I used it when I wrote up the job description that I used from Barry's description originally, but I can't remember exactly
Okay.
now.
All right,
Do you have those documents available so we can look at them too?
We would have all relevant documents available, including job descriptions from other municipalities, the job descriptions that you gave us, and anything that Sandy gave us.
yeah,
Because I've never seen any of that, so. Well, we'll take and do what we can, see what'll happen.
all right.
You meet twice a month?
Yes, yep,
Well, I'll try to keep coming. We did have an action at our last meeting to try to pursue the concept of putting the two jobs together into one, but so on that basis, I represent the commission view on it, but those minutes still haven't been approved because we haven't had the next meeting yet. We normally meet every month, but I've got two people that don't function electronically, and therefore Zoom meetings just don't work for us. And so we've been having an occasional meeting, and we include a site visit in it and manage to have a meeting, but when we
okay,
have to. But normally we meet every month, virtually every month, but we haven't been able to this year due to the difficulty of trying to meet.
okay. All right, any other business from anyone?
We're all set. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Any other discussion? If hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning?
Sue, aye.
Aye.
Tom, I.
Fair aye. So we will adjourn this meeting at 7:08 PM.